Every one of us should always be open to take the less knowledge and help them advance their knowledge into the future.
You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. All right, guys. Well, I've come into all kinds of crazy talks tonight, getting off work from me getting thrown in about, yes, my gang history. Yes, I was one, very young, very stupid, very foolish, all the way that escalated into cars. So, all right, good stuff. First and foremost, what this place is governance. As most of you have already been on here now for a while. Actually, all of us have been on here for a while. There's no one really new, I was hoping. This is not a rain chat channel. This is not a leech channel. So just something I want to read to you guys. If it's governance group, are we centralizing power? If it's to build FF community, what's wrong with the FF community that's already there? And then the next question, though, was what caught me very much by surprise. The question was, what are we governing? When people start asking questions like that, if you could pay attention to the chats and give me a hand, especially when I'm at work, try to get them going. So I'm asking you guys as a favor going forward, if there's chats, especially on the main, if I'm at work, I can't do it. That's the problem. This goes into what OG is trying to do. Purple is designed for one thing and one thing only at this point. Purple are people that have actually participated since the beginning to help build this place. One of the discussions that we were going to go into is the purple aspect in itself, and of course the blue aspect in itself. At that point, because you guys are founding to this channel, which is correct, everyone that's been here has been here from the beginning. Future, V-Rock, Jay, all of us. Citizen, I mean, just all of us. All of us have been here from the beginning. First couple days in, the whole group, the whole shebang. That to him is meaningful because why? You guys have contributed. Look how far we've grown in just over a week. Not numbers, but I'm saying just this place in general. To OG, that is very meaningful to him. I absolutely get that. I understand that. But for him also, too, he also feels because we are the ones that are continually participating and acting and providing content and adding stuff every day. That's where the discussion was to come in, like, how do we handle this and what would we vote on going forward as far as new people joining after the fact? He wants to ensure that us, not so much that he's creating a division or an inequality or anything like that. He just feels because the people that are doing what they're doing here to provide and help, he wants recognition for us that are doing what we're doing. And that's what he's after. And I can respect that. This is his channel. He's made it all of our channels. And that in itself, I mean, look at the freedoms. Look at the things that you guys are able to talk about. Look at all the different aspects of things that we're able to do here, where some of you have your own channels. And you're able to discuss freely, do things freely in your own way. Some of them are blocked and not seen, of course, because they go off the top. But that's okay. There's other instances where, we have, like this, the university now. There's a lot of things that we have here that we couldn't do on main, which is, for good reason. Number one, control, stability. Here we're dealing with 80 people. Over there, they're dealing with 15,000. A lot of barriers of understanding, a lot of areas of mentalities, a lot of areas of age and everything. So I get that. You guys also have to remember this too. Everyone that is here has been invited here by any of you. And with that, that's the point of this. That was one of the questions he asked earlier. Well, why isn't this a free, open community? And I very much told him, I go, we're keeping out the leeches and we're keeping out the bots. I go, this is for people that want to learn and get ahead and advance. That's the reason why I'm starting this class off this way tonight, is so that way everyone that has a clear understanding of what it is we have here to what it is that we're doing here. Because I need that to get broken down for people when they do come in. But if I can't answer and someone's just lingering, I'm going to need your help, guys. Just help me out and just pay attention to people, especially in the main channels, so we can try to help them out a little bit more. That's all. I'm just asking for a little help. Believe me, if I was on here all day, I would address everyone as much as I possibly could, which I do try to do even at work, but sometimes it's just even too much for me. So thank you, guys. And with that, welcome to Pacific Standard Time, first class. Okay. So for the F asset in itself, or Spark, what are we getting with the airdrop? Okay, so minting of the F asset is going into what Spark is ultimately going to be. Someone find me the white sheet for Flare Networks. This is our first class tonight. We got to nip this in the butt now. The Spark token will be distributed to the XRP ecosystem soft fork. We had a discussion about this the other day. It is a soft fork, not a hard fork, a soft fork that generates considerable utility for the original chain XRP. We are still, with that sentence in itself, we are still on that ecosystem of XRP. So basically that's saying is we are on their ledger. It's a soft fork to stay on their ledger. We didn't change anything. They didn't start a new coin. So I know we had this discussion the other day, so hopefully that should clear that up going forward. And they did it. Why? Because it enables the use of XRP with Turing Complete smart contract instead of trying to compete with it. Again, makes more sense. So soft utility fork, basically what it is. Okay, the F asset in itself is it's designed as a governance token for Flare Network. What you guys now have to take away is that if that 2.5 was to hold true, it was to hold true all the way through. In order for us to get to the F assets, we would have to then accumulate whatever coin it is to turn it into so to utilize it on FlareFinance. We got to remember that the Spark token is based off the F token, which is the F asset for XRP. Nowhere in this have I seen anywhere yet where it says there's a F asset for either F Litecoin or F Doge or F anything else. What that tells me then, if that's the case, which this is solely saying it's totally off XRP, which is where the 2.5 comes into play, that makes sense. Everything else that will be coming over, though, because it will be changed into a different coin. Think of Bitcoin that's wrapped on Ethereum and the virtual machine. Guess what we're going to be doing with the other coins? Wrapping. In order to utilize Doge, in order to utilize Litecoin and everything else, we will be wrapping them with FlareFinance's wrap machine in order for us to utilize them on FlareFinance. Let's go now to FlareFinance's white paper. Okay. Flare Farm gives the users the ability to earn non-custodial yield on select Flare-based assets. Initial holders of YFlare or Yield Flare, Spark, FLR, Trustless XRP, which is the Spark version 2.5, which we were talking about, Flare USD, which will be wrapped, can participate in yield farming for YFin, governance token of the ecosystem. So that right there. Main, YFin, end goal, what it is, we want to vote to participate, that's what we're after. Simple, there it is. All right, moving on. Flare USD, USDT, which is Tether, USDC, and or a DAI on the Flare network. So with that, yes, it's of those three. The reason why they're using those three, if you guys remember, is to make that stable coin as solid as it perfectly can be with minimal weakness to it. Pretty smart. I give it to them. I like it. Which in this case, basically we already know what the third one is, so that's fine. Okay, Flare loans. If you guys are curious about loans, here we are. Someone read, because I'm already starting to lose my voice, please.
Flare Loans is an asset-backed loans issuance platform which provides DODL by enabling holders to pool their assets to be loaned against a borrower's collateral. The ecosystem consists of creditors and debitors who make up the decentralized lending network. Creditors offer a variety of lending products to in turn pay interest on their desired loan products to the creditors.
Okay, anyone who's next? Okay. Lending or borrowing earns the obligated parties both allocated APR minus a 1.5% fee and a correlating amount of YFin. With that sentence right there, we are double dipping. That should answer your guys' questions as far as going to loans. This question is always asked all the time. What is the loan aspect of why this is going to be different, especially for the first 3 years? That sentence in itself should answer your question. We are collecting APY on the coin that's either going to be in service or YFlare, depending on how they design it. And we will also be collecting YFin at the same time. That is a good deal. A lot of loan projects do not do this. You only get the APY of the coin either in place or you get the coin to get a better percent in their coin. They are giving us both. Very, very hard to beat. There's no other loan project I can think of that does this at the same time, giving out two coins. That should put that nail in the coffin as far as the loan project and what we're going to be receiving. It's both YFin and APR. All right. Defaulting on a loan payment begins with what is called collateral issuance. That replaces the missed loan payment with the amount owed to the creditor from the debtor's collateral pool. Debtors do not lose all of their collateral pool, instead can continue payments as regular at any time to save the remaining collateral pool. So basically what that's saying is this is how we get protected for us loaners. If they miss a payment, part of their portions automatically liquidated right then and there. They don't liquidate the whole thing like Nexo did to people, which is smart because we don't want to lose people. But they do liquidate the portion that is missed. That way, then they can catch up and continue on. In retrospect, it's protecting us as the people that are utilizing our coins to be used. And then for them, all they're doing is getting liquidated for the portion of what it is they were supposed to pay and then keep going without getting totally wiped out. Again, works both ways. I like it better than most places, even Nexo. All thought out, both ends. This is the part where it gets tricky now, though. Defaulting for longer than a loan term results in full issuance of debtor's collateral pool, creating an immediate 20% profit margin for creditors. What does that mean, guys? They have 1,000 XRP. Don't care about the price, they have 1,000. They want to borrow off of half. So they want to borrow 50%. I'll say on the loan terms, they have to put an additional 25% extra. So 750 coins they would have to put in for collateral in order to get that 50. They're going to yank out that 20% out of that other 250 coins that they added. It's going based off the profit margin for the creditor. So depending on what the margin is to what they already paid to the offset to what's still available, that's when the calculation will go through. That's why if you're going to borrow, you always have to put in more than what you're asking to ensure this happens. This is regular loan projects in general. Nexo does this, Celsius does this. You always have to put in more than what you're borrowing, just for the simple case that you get defaulted. And you got to remember, once you guys borrow, it's locked until it is paid off. You get pieces of it out as you pay if they set it up that way, but it is locked nonetheless. So don't think people can just come in here, take a loan and be like, oh, well, I'm just not going to pay it back. So here's the thing with this, though, guys. The way around this is going back to what I said. If you guys need to borrow at any time, do not use a volatile coin, number one. Number two, use a stable coin. Borrow from that way and call it good. All loans are fully asseted back by 120%. Allow the ecosystem to run trustless-free on contracts built within the Flare network. So 120%, all assets are backed. All right, Flare Mutual is a decentralized mutual fund that allows people to share risk together without the need for an insurance company. It covers new developing projects on Flare network and allows them to insure the risk against events like smart contract failure, hacks, bugs that may affect the new ecosystem, providing peace of mind to their users. Holders of FLR, FXRP, YFlare, YFIN, and FUSD are able to participate in mutual funds and can collectively back projects applying for insurance in either the pre or post-launch phase. You're getting an ICO of a coin before it even goes ICO. So moving on with just the mutual fund, right? Staking one's currency against the security of a project smart contracts provides cover to this project in the event of an issue. Claims can be submitted by users of the project in the event of an issue and can either be approved or denied by members providing cover to the smart contract. Members of the mutual earn shares of the fee pool that is accumulated from the projects requesting insurance, as well as the additional distribution of YFIN. Each project creates a different mutual pool, and all of the smaller pools together form the mutual fund. Let me reread it. Each project creates a different mutual pool, and all of the smaller pools together form the mutual fund. Okay? That in itself, if it's a big project, guess what? It may be stated and put, if you want to stake in it, as its own pool. That to me is what I'm taking away from that sentence. If that is the case, and you think it's a really good project, you might want to keep some coin on the side, because if something does pop up in there, and everything you already have is already gone, you're either going to have two choices. Either you're going to miss out on it, or you're going to have to buy more coin to add to it to jump into that instance. So you might go in there and there might be a list of 4 or 5 different pools for different things coming on board that are happening. And you're going to have to be like, well, how do I invest in 5? It's not like I'm just throwing a pot of money into one thing and calling it good. Yeah, there could be different instances of this. Something we're going to have to be mindful of going into the future. Moving on. While each pool, okay, there it is. While each pool, so that already tells you right off the bat there's going to be more than one, right from the get-go. So if you're throwing your coin in something, better not stake it all in one, because chances are there's going to be more. You're going to miss out if you do. Something to think about. Okay, while each pool provides oversight of a designated project, the mutual fund provides oversight over all pools. Okay. In other words, this is a circuit breaker to where it keeps an eye on everything, and obviously the algorithm is in effect and make sure everything is balanced as much as possibly can be. That's Flare Mutual in a nutshell for the information that we have. You guys now know more about Flare Loans and Flare Mutual than most people on either server, whether it's this or main. These questions got asked every day by everyone. This question is always brought up. What do we know about it? What's this? I always tell you guys, well, guess what? Now you guys know. All right. Flare Mine is a decentralized yield mining platform that allows owners of Bitcoin and Ethereum mining rigs. This is the part where I'm hopeful for me, because I am a hard GPU user to mine. Obviously, that's going to mean ASICs as well, too. I've already come to that point. I understand it. I don't like it, but it's going to be what it is. To mine Spark, FLR. There it is. Miners contribute their hash rate to a centralized mining pool that actively mines Bitcoin and Ethereum at the best rate possible. Mining pools contribute these funds to an automatic training bot, which then swaps the Spark at the best possible rate. What that's saying is remember, we're using the systems that can mine Bitcoin and Ethereum. We're not mining them. If you become a miner, swap is going to happen automatically, and it's going to give you the best rate possible to get Spark. In other words, whatever the lowest price that it can find at that point is what it's going to automatically swap to. Do not read into the Bitcoin Ethereum part. This is what's important for that. You guys ready for part 2 of this paragraph? Spark is distributed back to the miners at the rate determined by their contribution to the hash rate, along with additional distribution of Wyman. This is the 2-coin aspect, not mineable 2-coin aspect, but you are collecting 2 coins nonetheless. I'm not going to say it's going to be 1-to-1. I think it's going to be a little bit of an offset. That remains to be seen, but you are collecting 2 coins for mining. That's why I wanted every piece of this puzzle that I can possibly get a hold of. Why I've always said, I want in every part, I want in every part, I want in every part, and I want in every part. But spreading out yourself real thin to collect a Wyman, or in this case for mining, okay, I can spread myself out a little thin there. But to spread myself out to collect Wyfin, remember, pools are going to be fluctuating. I want to be in every part because I don't know where those fluctuations or dips are going to be, where people are going to be jumping out, and that's going to enable me to get more Wyfin at that particular time. Remember, we are paid out congruently in time. What that means is Wyfin is continually accrued as long as you're staked in those single coin pools. I want to be in all of them. I don't want to mess around with trying to eyeball this and eyeball that and let me jump to here and swap it. No. I want in all of them. The way I don't have to worry about it. Not everyone's going to be able to jump into it right off the bat. Like me, I have my card right now mining Ethereum. If this thing was to go live, there would be nothing wrong for me as long as I get the miner, the pool that they're giving, I could switch over at any time to start the hash rate. Within an hour, I'd be up and running. The other thing, though, with that, though, too, is even this. To say, for instance, though, you do it, it's not that big of a thing. You can still mine Doge and LTC and still utilize it in the system anyway. All right, here we go. Tokenomics. FlareFinance ecosystem utilizes a 3-token ecosystem to provide governance, fee, replacement, and rewards. In addition to the ecosystem, Spark, FLR, and Trustless, FXRP, will be utilized extensively within all products of FlareFinance. The tokenomics of Flare Finance will develop and create harmless financial ecosystem that delivered all-in-one solution for Flare Network to build on. Okay, there's the tie-in right there. If you guys want to tie anything on in your head, this is the paragraph to do it. Tokenomics of Flare Finance were developed to create a harmonious financial ecosystem that delivers an all-in-one solution for the Flare network to build on. This being general introductory documentation is a detailed explanation and breakdown of each token allocation will be provided in future release on our financial paper. iFlare token. iFlare token is the ecosystem's main platform token. It will be utilized across all products and has main focus of utilization within FlareX and Flare Farm. FlareX is what? You guys remember what that is? That's the exchange. That's basically what it is. Your swaps. Okay. And Flare Farm, which is our single coin, our liquidity pools, everything else. Okay. Initial use cases will include services as a fee replacement token on FlareX, the primary staking token to farm Wyfin. Read that again. Its initial use cases will include servicing as a fee replacement token on FlareX. In other words, that's that little option in the beta where we have to use Flare as opposed to using Wyfin. For FlareX, it gives you the option to use YFlare as your main choice for fees for doing a swap. Okay, so that's YFlare. So, 110 million. Could there be more in the future? That is a possibility. Well, I think that will likely happen. Maybe not. Just depends on what happens. Team allocation. Anyone know what this is?
That's for the Flare team to manage. Whoever they are.
Foundation. These two, it's going to be really hard to figure out how one's going to differentiate from the other. With the utilization going back into both these. It'll be very, very interesting as time goes on. So the distribution teams are, and I'm reading this from the EcoFlow chart, so just bear with me. The team distributions are teams and potential investors' profits distributed automatically via smart contracts. So there you go. Potential investors' profits distributed automatically to smart contracts. These are people that are funding this thing right now that's being built. Like say, for instance, you're using a single coin farming pool in itself. That would be one instance. The other ones are going to be like, say, for instance, liquidity pools. We're going to have to make up that difference for this in something. So they're going to have to get the coin. And then in order to do that, this is where this is going to come from. It's pool mining. So it'd be any pool that has YFlare in it to get it, or vice versa. And then this one, okay, 10 million in reserves. Why would this be important? This is just in case. You got to remember, on the APY cloud, it's actually this. It's this number. This is just reserves. But on the ecosystem itself, this is nowhere to be found. Not yet, anyway. You can look at it negatively. You can also look at it positively as well, too. Like I said, we don't have information on this yet. No idea. When we go on to the other white paper, we'll see what we can find, okay? So keep this one in mind. Hopefully we can find something else when we go into the other one. All right, moving on. YFIN. This is why we are here. This is why governance exists. Okay? There we go. YieldFin token is the ecosystem's main governance token. It will be utilized extensively across all 6 products within the ecosystem. Its primary focus on governance and reward structure. So that would be your FlareX, Flare Farm, Flare Loans, Flare Mutual, Flare Wrap, and Flare Mine. Okay? What that means is this. This will dictate a lot of things that's going to be happening in the 6 parts of it. Not that will necessarily, like for the Wyman for mining, we know we don't get it there, and that's fine. But it will be dictating this as far as everything else with the ecosystem. That's why this part is in there. Its initial use case will be to serve as main reward token on Flare Farm platform, provide as a result of staking in one of the available distribution pools. It will also serve as a distribution token for Flare Loans and Flare Mutual upon platform release. With that, with the farming pools, with the single coin farms, along with the Flare Loans and the Flare Mutual, that's all the possible ways to acquire YFIN. If you dump everything you have into one aspect of it, you will get a better choice of trying to acquire more of that pool. But here's the thing. Once you get that whale set in, especially for a single coin pool, your rewards are going to get cut drastically. So you might want to keep that in mind, keeping your options open and not just piling everything into one thing and hoping for the best. What you decide to do is up to you, but just something to think about. Once acquired, it can either be staked or earn more YFlare, released over a vesting period, or utilized to vote on governance proposals submitted by the team and other community members. Why would this part be important? Why would they include this in this? Aren't we all starting out with a vesting period, especially for the people that are receiving the first drop? So they're doing that same thing as far as Flare networks for getting us Flare. They're doing the same thing with this as well too, for YFlare. So that's the only correlation. But they are doing the same thing. Here's a big thing right here. On the team and community members, we are both working together with this side by side, which we already knew. Keep in mind, the team aspect is going to have some say-so on whatever it is we decide and vice versa. This is where having to play nice with each other is going to come into play, very, very much so. So here we go. Soul supply, 11,000. YieldFin mining. What is this? And this right here, by the way, is the wrong wording for it. It's because we're not mining. What are we doing?
Staking. Well, we're farming. Yeah, you're staking, you're farming. It's,
right.
Yeah, it's that mining actually makes you think maybe it's because you're running a miner in order,
That's what I said. This is an incorrect word, so don't look at that. All right. Okay, mutual fund, the mutual distribution, 1,000. This is somewhat of an interesting concept. Why so low, do you guys think? What I'm saying is, as far as collecting on these, the dilution value, because it's only 1,000 compared to here, it's actually going to be a lot smaller as far as receiving distributions off this. Same thing with the loans. Those two are going to be quite small.
What's it, 4,000, 4,000, 3,000? That's how they're dropping it?
Right. For the first year, for the first 3 years, that would be correct.
Yeah, the first 3 years was 4,000, 4,003, and that was 11 on the dot. Is YFIN 11,000 is it, or is that also going to be a governance vote type thing also?
No, they're pretty sure they're going to lock this in place. The reason being is because if you think of any major governance token, whether it's Maker, look at the price of that, look at FlareFinance and their token, this is going to be pretty much where it's at. Because why? At the end of the day, this is what's going to drive up the value force of the platform. Not everyone is going to be collecting this for voting. People are going to be accumulating this on all aspects just for the dollar value. So with that, you can believe and be assured that this is going to get driven up in price over time, because the people that are going to be selling it for a profit are going to be holding until they get to their price points and then begin to sell and drive the price up higher. People like us that are trying to use it for governance are going to not care about what that price is and try to keep as much of it in the system as much as we possibly can. These are all known facts. It's happened on every governance token going forward. People have just simply driven up the price because the people that want the voting rights and everything else trying to keep it in their system. And in order to do so, they have to buy higher. So something to keep in mind. All right, YMIN token. Here we go. This is the ecosystem's main rewards token. It will utilize primarily on the Flare Mine and FlareX platform. Why would this be used on FlareX, guys? Its initial use case will be to serve as a rewards token for providing mining power to the Flare mining pool, as well as mining rate multiplier on the FlareX platform. The way I'm perceiving it is like this. If I'm doing X amount of hash rate and there's a multiplier now where it says it gives me 2 times or 3 times multiplier in my hash rate, that is indeed going to give me more coin. Once acquired, it can either be burned to increase the rate at which one mines Y-Flare. But here's the part where the Y-Fin comes into play. Once acquired, it can be burned to increase the rate at which one mines Y-Flare for staking Y-Fin. Up until now, there hasn't been any staking point for Y-Fin. No other aspect has even said anything about staking Y-Fin other than using a liquidity pool or a LP token pool. As far as single coin pool, there's no way to stake there. Well, as of now, there's nothing that can be staked to accumulate more Y-Fin. Or sold on the market to traders interested in lowering their trading fees. And will adapt with the amount of miners who join the network, the weight gap between miner and hash rate contributions, and the proposals submitted by the community. In other words, think of expanding and contracting. The weight of the gap between the miner's hash rate contributions and proposals submitted by the community. You got to remember this. If you guys remember the last white paper that we read about Wyman, the minimum mining period is how many years? 3 years. What is the maximum time frame if everything goes well on this? It can be extended indefinitely. Correct. Every white paper going forward, guys, we will be doing this breakdown. Everyone going forward, whether it's Flare Networks, we'll be doing this with FlareFinance, with anything else going forward. We'll also be doing this with PAC once they get one. We will be doing this with Delchain. We will be doing this with Trust. We are going to be doing this going forward with projects that people have in mind, projects that people want to talk about. The reason being is this. We got to get as much informed as we possibly can be going forward. So we'll be focusing on white papers going forward quite a bit, very extensively, actually. Because what that's going to do is eliminate 2 things. One, it's going to eliminate questions in your guys' head about, well, we got the idea of this, but I'm not quite sure. Reading a white paper like that, we eliminate that problem right off the bat. Number 2, it also eliminates you guys cross-contaminating projects with each other and then trying to elaborate or tell someone what you think is right, only to find out that you're wrong. If there's a white paper, I don't care if it's big like this, I don't care if it's short, we will be going over it. All right? So on that, guys, class is over for the evening. It has been a pleasure.